shoulder loop. We'll work on shoulder loop so you can feel what that feels like in your body. Okay. You guys ready? You want to practice? Any questions before we get started or thoughts? Okay. Grab your 2 blocks or one, whatever you got. A strap. Funny enough, I have a strap, but then I went to look for it and couldn't find it because probably my kids have played with it. So even a scarf or something will work fine. Take a moment, set up your mat, however you prefer it. And you like to light some sage or candle or anything that makes it feel connecting for you, do that. And if you're just observing, feel free to do little things that feel good in your body or just observe the whole time. Okay. All right, I'm going to read a little bit of introduction from Light on Yoga. This is a great book of postures that's been around since the beginning of time. I think at least the early 60s or something, this book was published. And I'm just going to read a little bit about the asana. The third limb of yoga is asana, or posture. Asana brings steadiness, health, and lightness of limb. A steady and pleasant posture produces mental equilibrium and prevents fickleness of mind. Asanas are not merely gymnastic exercises, they are postures. To perform them, one needs a clean, airy place, a blanket, and determination. While for other systems of physical training, one needs large playing fields and costly equipment. Asanas can be done alone, as the limbs of the body provide the necessary weight and counterweight. By practicing them, one develops agility, balance, endurance, and great vitality. Asanas have been evolved over the centuries so as to exercise every muscle, every nerve, and gland in the body. They secure a fine physique, which is strong and elastic without being muscle bound, and they keep the body free from disease. They reduce fatigue and soothe the nerves. But the real importance lies in the way they train and discipline the mind. So as you come onto your mat, as you come into practice, we're going to start on our hands and knees. Take your feet together and your knees apart. And take a breath. And then slowly, before you go all the way down, I just want to sit to the heels first. You might adjust your legs, connect to your breath, connect to your body. Kind of coming into a space of softening. grounding. As we use our asana practice this morning, we're going to use the lens of the body as our portal, our connection to our higher self, to God. To soften and listen as we work in this process to receive the truth from our bodies. As you sit to your heels, you might naturally want to rock or sway here, inviting in some deeper opening, maybe across the hips or the back of the sacrum. Bring your hands under your shoulders a little bit at an angle. And I want you to press your hands into the floor, almost like a cat-cow. You're rounding in the cat stretch. Right? Press your hands into the floor, round up through the shoulders. Take a breath. Keep your shoulders strong and just like a cow, like dropping your belly, shifting your pubic bone towards your toes. And then walk your hands just one or two handprints forward, keeping weight in your hands, keeping the connection of pressing into the floor. Maybe your ribs drop a little bit between the thighs as you come down. You can do that again, a little cat-cow, a rounded stretch. And then dropping your belly again, so your ribs start to sink into your inner thighs a little bit more. And then maybe another handprint forward as you come down a little bit lower. Hollow out your armpits so it's a little bit of a lift. I want you to, maybe you're at an angle where you kind of push down into the floor now into your hands, and it lifts just the upper shoulders. Right? You might even come up onto your fingertips to get a little bit more, a little different area of the shoulders. And then you can go the other way, let the heart melt and kind of shift the stretch and the cat-cow, kind of child's pose alignment. You might do that again, kind of lifting the armpits up, feeling that rounded shape in the upper shoulders, kind of pushing into the hands, hollowing out the armpits, and then letting the shoulders, the heart sink again right through the center. Maybe your third eye this time comes down to the floor. If it feels good, you might start to feel even a cat-cow as you're down in your child's pose, keeping the hips connected to the heels, lifting, hollowing out the armpits just in smaller movements. And exhale, sinking into the armpits the other way. Take another minute or so in an active child's pose, kind of finding any tension, any resistance. Inviting in the breath. Fingertipping your reach maybe a little bit longer if it's starting to open up. But maintaining the heaviness in your hips, the groundedness in your sacrum. As you grow your ribs out of your side body. Even on the exhale, pulling your belly to spine and feeling your hips get heavier. Let's take 3 more breaths. And on the next inhale, come up to your hands and knees. Place your hands under your shoulders, really open up your fingers nice and wide, like make a big web with your hands. Shoulders are stacking over the wrists. And I want you, just like we do in the feet, I want you to feel the placement of your hands from the first finger mound, pinky finger, back through the palm of the hand, the base of the hand. You gently claw the floor with your fingertips, just even working some strength in your forearms and your hands. Take a breath, feel the spine lengthen. And from here, let's curl the toes. And I just want to float the knees up off the floor about, about 8 inches or so. Feel into the shoulders. From here, keep the knees bent, just shift in the shoulders back towards the legs. So it's just the arms of down dog, the legs stay bent. So knees bent, belly to the thighs, heart to the thighs here. Take a breath or so. You might even move a little bit forward. I've heard this called deer pose. I don't know what it is, but it's just building some heat in the shoulders, right? Shifting back nice and slow into the fullness of just the upper body of the down dog. One more time, maybe coming forward, feeling that rounded cat stretch in the upper shoulders, pressing down into the floor, into the earth. Just pulling forward and pushing back. From here, you can keep the angle in the shoulders and start to straighten your legs, move your thighs back, but don't come forward in the shoulders or work the stability there. You can try it again. Deep bend of the knees, bring the belly to the thighs, get that angle of the down dog that feels really good. And then adding another layer, starting to move the thigh bones back behind you. You can hollow out the armpits in your down dog, creating more muscle engagement there, especially if you're hyper flexible there. Maybe a breath or 2 more. Bring your feet together in your down dog. Feet together. If you need to make any adjustments in your hands just to create the next movement, 3-legged dog, right leg might go up. Release any tension in your neck, so just let your head go. Press into the floor, really pushing the floor away from you and your hands. Dropping the heel that's on the floor, reaching nice and long through that extended leg. Take a breath. And then release the right leg back down. And left leg goes up. Open up your hands, drop your right heel and reach through the toes. 3 to 5 breaths. Good. Release the left leg back down, lower back down to your knees. Yes. Shake out your hands, realign your upper body. Let's do cat cow, drop your belly, lift your heart. Now, an active cat cow, you're going to drag your hands towards your knees. So I want you to think about the side body lengthening out of the hips. And that rotation, rolling the arm bones back, widening across your collarbones and feeling your lats. Feel the muscles under your armpits even engage through your ribs. Right? Press the floor away from you in that cat stretch. Now it's all the good stuff. Chin to the chest, pull your belly into the spine. The sacrum gets heavy. Maybe the tops of the feet press into the floor, your toenails. Root down and go the other way. Belly drops, but nice and active. Activate those muscles. Drag your heart forward. The external rotation of the arm bones. Fire up your lats. And then go one more time. Full cat stretch. Toenails rooting, belly to spine. Push the floor away from you. And drop the belly. Drag the floor towards you with your hands. Externally rotate. Feel the shoulder blades engage. Good. And back to neutral. Curl your toes again, down dog, lift your knees, stretch back. Bring your feet together. Nice active down dog. Feel the muscles of the arms kind of widening out here. So if you had a strap around your arms, in just your imagination, I want you to feel like you're going to widen out and break the strap, right? That widening out should activate your lats. Great cue, especially if you're going to make this part of your class, is that widening out of the arm bones creates more stability in the chest, in the shoulders. Right leg goes up, three-legged dog. See if you can take the right leg up and break the strap of the arms. Draw the knee into the chest and step through for a lunge. Low lunge, let's go ahead and lower the back knee down. So for back bends, we need an open body, so open front body. So let's take a little bit of time to feel that delicious opening of the front of the hip. Let the hip drop for the front heel. But I want you to feel kind of that pulling forward with your hands either on the floor, or you can use some blocks. The blocks will create more of a back bend, more of a stretch. So it's up to you. But pulling the floor towards you, kind of pulling your heart forward, activating your lats, maybe elbows kind of hugging in towards the midline. Belly to the spine. Feel your sacrum getting heavier down towards the earth. And then bring your head back, right? We talked about the head lining up with the arm bones. Can you get your head to line up with your arm bones? So it's pretty active. Yeah. Feel the side body lengthening. Maybe you get a little bit more length from the side. The head draws back. Maybe the chin lifts a little bit. That shoulder loop could start where your chin lifts and you feel the shoulder blades moving towards the front of your heart. About 3 more breaths. You don't have to be in the deepest version of this. Find the place to work that feels good in your body. Good. As you're ready to come out, take your time. Come back to your hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Open up your hands, shift back. Again, creating, concentration in the body. Widen out your arm bones. Feel like you're breaking that strap. Wake up the shoulders and the strength there. Keep that active engagement as you take the left leg up in your three-legged dog. Three-legged dog provides more strength building in the shoulders. So if it's too much, go back to down dog. Holding that left leg up, really getting those shoulders nice and warm. We're going to take the left knee in and do the lunge on the other side. Lower the back knee down. Decide how much of a back bend you're ready for this morning. The blocks in this case kind of make it a little harder. Let the hips drop forward towards your front heel. All this engagement is a process. So we start with setting up our foundation and the feet, then let the pelvis kind of move forward, then feel the side body kind of lengthen, externally rotating the arm bones, feeling that width across the shoulder blades, I mean the collarbones, the squeeze in the shoulder blades towards each other. The elbows drawing in towards your ribs to activate again. That shoulder loop, heart loop. Soften your throat as you work here. So we're providing stability. And if you read the introduction to backbends, we need stability, not only in our legs, but in our heart. We can't be wide open all of the time. It's not safe. Our hearts are meant to open and close when we choose. Elbows pull in, not closing the heart here. We're giving it some strength and stamina. Take 3 more breaths, just continually working, coming out if you need to, but working within the nuance of each muscle and feeling it even fatiguing as we build stamina. Good. As you're ready to shift out, oh my goodness. Set up your down dog again, fingers wide. Shifting back. Try not to hang in the shoulders. Really lift the armpits slightly. Feel that side body lengthening. Lengthening the side body from the hips moving back, from the thighs moving back, and the heels dropping. 5 breaths. Good. On the inhale, you can come forward. You can chaturanga down if you want, or just come down to your belly. All right. Salabhasana, locust pose, right? You can bring your forehead to the floor or your chin, whatever feels better for your face on the floor. And just from here, I want you to feel that inner body bright. I want you to feel the length and the opening starting to happen, just laying flat. Then I want, if you're able to, you're going to bring your hands, the back of your hands to the back of your sacrum. In different hand positions, you can grab your peace fingers. You make a peace sign with 2 fingers and then can kind of hold on. Whatever helps you kind of get that nice and stable. So I just want to stay right here, elbows wide, backs of the hands on the sacrum, and spine nice and long. And this alone can be a giant stretch and maybe even too much. So if it's too much, just bring your hands to the floor or work it gentle. So to start, you could just do little wing flaps, like bringing your elbows back and towards each other and down. As you bring your elbows back in this wing position, notice what happens in the spine. That inner body bright through the heart. You might even feel it right here, just nice and subtle. This might be where you're working in Salabhasana right now. Toenails press into the floor. See if you notice anything else. Lift your thighs, your knees off the floor, but keep your toenails down and pushing down. So as we provide more stability in the lower half, how does that affect and relate to what's going on in the upper half? I'm already feeling it, just doing the slight elbow movement. But maybe as you start to bring your elbows back towards each other, you kind of feel this prompting to push your belly into the floor and lift your chest. You can keep your neck neutral. You can stay in the lift and then bring your elbows towards each other on your back again. Notice what you feel. If you need to come in and out of it, if your back is not used to engaging like this, come in and out so you can stay working in the right spots and not compensating. So toenails down, thighs lift, belly pushes into the floor, elbows move back, heart lifts. Woo. So not only are we feeling the muscles around the shoulders by bringing our elbows back, we're working the whole back chain of muscles down even into the lumbar spine. So push your belly into the floor. A downward activation on the belly helps to support the low back. This is how we engage the core for that part of the stability. Ooh. Now, if you're feeling extra on this last one, lift up again, keeping the toenails down on the floor, the thighs lifted, the elbows move back, the heart lifts. Engage the belly and straighten the arms towards your heels. Wow. You should feel all the muscles of that back chain lighting up. You might even be sweating a little bit already. Good. You can release the arms as you're ready. Maybe turn a cheek to the floor, wobble the hips. And if you have any questions, by the way, as we practice, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or if you're not sure if you're feeling it in the right way. All right, come up onto your elbows, Sphinx pose. So you'll see under the Cobra in your book, Sphinx is a modification of Cobra. The elbows are right under the shoulders and palms down usually, but if you need to, hands can be together. But the palms down and in parallel can help you get that external rotation of the arm bones. So as if the floor was a treadmill, you're going to pull the floor towards you, right? And you should feel that tractioning out of the side body. Then add that external rotation of the arm bones, roll the arm bones wide, the upper arm bones. Energetically, it's like a spiraling out. And then hug your elbows towards each other. And you should feel your lats here. That's an active Salabhasana. No tension in the neck, just nice and strong, but the neck is kind of, the back of the head is moving back towards the arm bones if you've got the mobility to take the back bend deeper. And a warm up, you can even bring the chin to the chest, look towards the belly button, buffalo back, where you lift the belly off the floor and round the shoulders like a cat cow, but just in the upper shoulders here. So that's a nice counter stretch. But I want to go back the other way into the hard direction, building shoulder strength. Lower your belly, pull your elbows towards your body, right? So tractioning, external rotation of the arm bones, roll them out to the outer edges of your mat. Keep your neck relaxed, but draw your throat back. Drawing your throat back will move your head back and move your heart forward. If you can stay here, building that stability and endurance, about 3 to 5 breaths, nice and active. Good. When you feel complete there, you can release. I like to stretch my arms long overhead after that one. Bring your hands to prayer, your forehead to the floor. And take a big old breath. Let the breath kind of release any tension. Good. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. Let's press up to your hands and knees. Downward facing dog in that active way. Open your fingers, push back. Good. Widen out your arm bones into that invisible strap. Feel the width and the activation here. Keep moving your hips back, but stay active in the shoulders. It takes a bit more concentration to do both at once. Many people really kind of get ungrounded when they open their heart. You want to maintain grounding energy with muscle activation. Good. As you're ready, come back down onto the floor, onto your belly. Bring your forearm underneath your shoulder. All right. I will say our left forearm. It doesn't, we'll do both sides, but just for cueing. Left elbow down, and I want you to push down into the floor. So I don't want you to be hanging out in the shoulder like that. I want you to push down. Your right hand can be on the floor, almost like a chaturanga arm, right? So here. This alone, by the way, if you're working with strength with your students or with your own body, just pushing in this way is a huge workout for the shoulders. But keeping nice and strong in that left elbow, I want you to bend the right knee and reach back and grab your foot. This reach back is a huge stretch and opener for the shoulders. Not everybody can grab their foot, and if you're having trouble, use your strap and put it around your foot. The top of the hand comes to the top of the foot, if you can. So it's a foot grab, but if you're open enough in the shoulder, the elbow bends up and the top of the hand comes to the top of the foot. Now I'm all slumping in my left shoulder, so I got to activate it, press down, and I'm working out. I have a little sweat going. Right? This would be like, I don't know, phase 2 or 3 or something of stretch. So this might be a stopping point. But if you're able to, you start to push down on the top of the foot, bringing the heel towards the butt for your thigh stretch. My shoulder is definitely working. But I'm wanting to stay nice and strong as long as I can, which is about there. Release the leg, stretch nice and long, maybe a pencil stretch. And then bring your elbows back underneath you for the other side. So the right forearm's going to come across. The left hand can be a chaturanga arm. So this would be like a setup for you or your students if you just need to work on that stability. But if you've got that nice and strong, you can take the left hand away and make it a thigh stretch. It's not as much fun as just hanging out and stretching. We got a goal, right? So elbow roots down, shoulder is out of the ears. At the same time as you reach back, you begin to press down on the foot. Engage your belly. See if that makes any difference in the stretch or stability as you push down on the foot. Good, release. Come back to your hands and knees. Nice and active, downward facing dog. Widen out your arms. It might actually feel good as a counter stretch to what we just did in the shoulders there. So you feel the head of the humerus, the head of the arm bone wide, like pushing outward. Does that make sense? Please ask if it doesn't. Good, bring your feet together. Take your right leg up, three-legged dog. Draw the knee in. Low lunge, so the left knee comes down again. Just like we did before. Side body long. Arm bones roll in towards the ribs, the back ribs. Roll the shoulders back. Take your throat back. You might be tight, and this might be a stopping point for you right here. But we can also take the left hand to the floor, do the twisting lunge. But instead of going right into it, doing it a little more active, bring your right hand to the knee. And you want to push into more of a back bend. You're straightening the right arm and leaning back. Take the shoulder loop cue. So shoulder blades move towards the heart. The heart moves up long first and then back. You can get more maybe mobility there. Play with that. Side ribs growing long. Maybe the neck, even the chin lifts, and you'll feel the heart kind of drawing up a little bit deeper. This can activate a lot of energy, so you might be feeling bursts of heat, fatigue. Maybe you're loving it, I don't know. All of it at once. But as that feels complete, come back to the center, back to your hands and knees, setting up for your down dog again. Widening out your arms, rooting through your heels, rooting through your hands. Hollowing out your armpits, so a little bit of a lift in the armpits, almost like a little bit of a rounded upper back, and then kind of lengthen your butt out of that, get longer through the spine. Like a little recoiling action, and then a lengthening kind of shaking out any excess energy of the spine. Three-legged dog, left leg can go up. Stay active in the hands in your three-legged dog. I have a teacher that she'll start telling stories while we're holding these poses like this, like really long stories. So I'll try to spare you the stories and just allow you to return back into sensation in the body and this activation in the body, and using that as your portal to understanding yourself a little bit more today. Draw the knee into your chest, step through, and take your low lunge again, setting up that activation. Heavy in the legs, light in the heart. Feel that length. Oh, the external rotation of the arm bones. Give that a moment to unpack in your system. And then pull your throat back. When I say pull your throat back, it's like it's the hyoid bone in your throat. Give yourself a double chin, pull back into the neck. As you pull your chin back, notice how it affects the shoulders. you want to add the twist, right hand is on the floor. Take it pretty wide so you can put some weight into the right hand. Left hand on the knee. Same thing. Don't just like hang back in the low back. I want you to get that length. So before you go back, come long, grow long, and then lean back. Lean back first. So your spine actually stays pretty neutral at first. Once you're in a lean back, then I want you to do the shoulder loop. Shoulder blades forward, the bottom of the shoulder blades forward, throat back. Oh my goodness. Deep, deep stretch. Good. As that feels complete, come back to your hands and knees. Oh, my hips, so sore. Setting up for a down dog, shifting back. Nice and active. Hips draw back. Widen your arm bones. I go and so it's so comfortable just to hang out in the joints in your shoulders. Try not to do that. Good. All right, come back to your belly. You can chaturanga or just lower down. Bhujangasana. Cobra. In Cobra, the farther your hands are, like if you start with your hands under the shoulders, it's going to be less of a back bend. Moving your hands back towards your ribs, towards like your bra strap, you know, back behind you where your fingertips are more lined up, like chaturanga arms, that's going to be a bigger back bend. So we'll play with a few different ones. But I like to go where my thumbs and my bra strap is, right under the, what is it, like a handprint under my armpits, right at the base there. Your third eye can rest on the floor if it feels good, just like we did earlier. Just pull your elbows towards each other on your back. Your neck nice and long. The toenails, so your feet press down into the floor. So there's an activation and a stabilizing in the lower body. Before you go up, I want you to go long, so lengthen through the crown of the head. And just like we did in Sphinx, there's a little bit of like a pulling the floor back towards your heels. Shoulders down your backs, elbows hug in. So do you feel all that activation there in the shoulders? That's what we want to feel when we're in the full back bend. I want you to feel that hug around your whole rib cage. So we can activate these muscles here and just stay here. And you can even lift into it, maintaining activation. The thing when you maintain activation and lift, you usually don't get very deep. It's more strength building, right? Elbows hug in towards the ribs, heart lifts, pull the floor back, your arms catch fire, everything's working, but your back bend's not very big. And so that's okay, but that's just one way to work on Cobra. The way I like to cue it, and I'm going to try to do it without being super confusing, so just go with me and see what you think. You start in this long space first, and you just let your elbows hang out to the side. So you actually don't activate at all. You let the arms be wide, but you get the length in the body, the length in the spine, and then you press up into your Cobra. Once you're as big in the back bend as you want to get, then you activate. Elbows hug in. Shoulder loop, shoulder blade moves towards the heart. Pull your throat back, press the floor with your hands, send your heart forward, elbows hug in. And release when you're ready. And you should feel your whole arm, shoulder connection. I'm going to watch you guys, see how you're feeling. It might be new to you. Try it again. Let's see what you think. So elbows are wide, just make some room, lift into your back bend, and then hug the elbows in. Elbows in, lats engaged, shoulder blade moves towards your heart. So keep coming forward, throat back, throat back, throat back. Holy shit, right? Release all the way down whenever you've had it with that. A long stretch or something for counteracting all that energy.
I have a question.
Sure.
In one class, in one yin class, they told us to in Chaturanga to put the feet together in upward facing dog, which for me was very uncomfortable. And so I'm watching you, and and you didn't cue to put them together. So is that a particular thing of that teacher, or is
no? You can bring the legs together, but it's going to put more compression in the low back. So you take it in phases. I like to take it in phases, especially if I'm working a lot of strength of the shoulders. I'm going to give them a little room back there so they can just focus on that. But that's the next phase. Can you keep the activation and bring your legs together? Try it now and see.
Okay.
It's hard. It's really hard. And it is for me because I have sway back, so it's even tougher. So try with your legs together, hip width, and maybe even wide. Yeah. So the width of your legs gives you more mobility in your low back.
I can see that the abdominal, like the muscles are so stretched out. It's not the same feeling when you have them open. Yeah, it's different.
It's different. So it's not wrong to have your legs a little bit apart. It just depends how you want to focus it. What I notice, especially in newer students, is that if their legs are together and they're tight, then they compensate. It messes up the whole pose. So I like to start, it's kind of, if you're watching your students not get as full into it as they want to, take their legs wide. Okay. Any other thoughts, questions, feelings? Can you feel, like, are you fatiguing, or is it just I'm totally out of shape? Like, I feel all
it's
of
hard.
the muscles lit up. Yeah. These are the muscles that in the bigger back bends, you're still going to want to feel. So that's what starts to connect this work to the bigger things. All right. So we went from Cobra. Let's go to down dog just to reset. Like, all of that makes down dog like the easiest pose ever created. Good. And when you're ready to, you can step, walk, or jump your feet forward. Take your Uttanasana. You can shake it out, let your elbows hang, even like a little rag doll, especially if you're really fatigued out from all of that work. Good. Bring your hands to your hips when you're ready to. Before you come up, stay in Uttanasana, hands to the hips, elbows back. So pull your elbows towards each other, lift your chin slightly, root to rise all the way up. Good. And then just take a moment, set up your Tadasana, feel into your feet, your legs. We'll do some standing poses now. All right. So let's start. I want to kind of take you through, how do we get our students to understand the side body lengthening? If I was sequencing a back bend class, I would definitely have a side angle pose, a Parsva Konasana. So whatever side you want to start on, I'm going to do right foot back, just for cueing. Set up your side angle. So step your right foot back, turn the toes wide. Right. Bend the left knee, coming into a kind of a warrior two setup. Neutral pelvis, so bring the pubic bone towards the belly button. Right. Stacking the spine nice and long, bring the back of the head over the sacrum. Root through the back pinky edge of your foot. So that right back foot, I want you to roll it open. So root through the pinky edge. It's going to lift the arch of your foot. But root down through the big toe mound. So your arch is nice and lifted. Your ankles are strong. That back leg line of energy that we want. We should feel that outer shin that we talked about a couple weeks ago. All right, so now side angle, elbow. Let's just do elbow to knee so we can work on the opening. Nice and deep in the lunge. I want you to root into the forearm on the shin, on the thigh, and roll the right arm bone back. So I want you to get that retraction. Arm bone rolls back. Sternum moves up. For me, I tend to twerk a little here. So I'm gonna, again, re-scoop my pubic bone towards my belly button. And we can actually stay here. This is gonna be a nice opening for the shoulder, but for the sake of playing around in the shoulder and arm joint, I want you to take your top arm, the right arm, straight in front of you, and right out in this front line. Sink a little bit deeper into the hips, roll into that pinky edge of the foot. Now I want you to take palm down. I want you to take the arm up by your ear. So you move from the front plane to overhead. Root down through that pinky edge of the foot, and I want you to reach really long through the fingertips, almost where you feel that outer rib cage arc up like a rainbow, right? So I want you to lift into the ribs, reach into the fingers, and root through that pinky edge of the foot. Get heavy in your legs, even heavier, like don't even work to push down into them. Keep your feet active, but just let your body kind of drop into the heaviness of your legs. Reach nice and long. You can look down if your neck is bothering you, up, or just keep your neck neutral. Nice side body opening. Good. Inhale, come up. Set up your other side, just turn your feet. Pinky edge of the back foot rolls back, arch lifts. Lunge in, elbow to knee. Get that pulling, that arm bone rolling back first. Can you roll that arm bone back and then draw the pubic bone, like zip up your jeans, pull up into the belly, sink into the hips. Activation, nothing's hanging out, everything's awake and moving energy in your body. Take your left arm straight in front of you, palm down. Plug, I forgot to say this on the other side, but make sure you're plugging the arm bone back into the shoulder joint. Sometimes when we reach forward, we kind of reach the arm bone out of the joint. I want you to reach forward, but plug that arm bone back. Then spin the arm up by your ear, palm facing down. Root through the foot. Pinky edge just really rolls towards the floor. You should feel the whole side body lengthening. You might even flex your fingers slightly upward towards the ceiling. Just a little finger flexion as you lengthen through the palm of the hand can open up that side body a little bit more. Sink into the hips, scoop your belly, tone up your everything, recommit. And then come all the way up. You can walk, step, jump your feet forward. And just take a moment, whether it's a formal Tadasana or just a moment of checking in, feeling all that flood of energy you're waking up around your heart. All right, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Same idea, side body lengthening. I like a block. This is where a block works great. Even though I'm really flexible in my legs, I can do Trikonasana without a block because I've got open hamstrings. I still like to use a block, not to take the pressure off my hamstrings, but to almost give me a third leg. The arm becomes more of a support, so I can work on that side body lengthening, that I can get more rotation from the rib cage turning up and all this energy I want out of my back bends. So if you haven't tried it with a block, give it a try and see if you like it. The block goes behind your front shin, kind of in line to where your shoulder will be as you come down. So start with Trikonasana, straight legs. Again, getting heavy in your legs, all the setup in the feet, right? So roll the pinky edge of the foot towards the floor, lift the back arch off the mat, like really draw into your inner arch, your inner thigh, your outer thigh, everything's kind of hugging up. Feel your ribs lifting up. And if it's helpful, I'll even put my hands on my rib cage and kind of nudge them upward out of my waist. Take your arms to a T. Keep that length in the side body as you hinge forward, hand to the block. Put weight into the hand on the block so you can lean back slightly. Hips press forward. Same thing, you can reach the top arm forward, plug the arm bone into the shoulder blade, so retract back into the joint, and then reach up by your ear. You can add that side body stretch even in Trikonasana. Rooting through your feet, toning your legs, reach. See if you can get a little bit longer by rooting a little heavier. Good. Inhale, come up. Switch legs. Tone, roll the feet, do all your things. I know I'm repeating, but hopefully it's making some sense. Pinky edge rolls back, arch of the foot lifts up, tone your thighs, like strong. Lift your ribs, maybe hands to the rib cage, kind of dance them up. Feel that muscular energy it takes to keep the length, reach your arms, and then come into the hinge, trying to maintain that muscular tone as you move into the shape. This side, my hip is a little tighter, so I'm going to focus on pushing my pelvis forward and pulling my heart back. So I'm aligning the back of the heart, the back of the head to my sacrum, and then recommit again to the shoulder loop, right? Shoulder blade moves towards the heart. My throat moves back, maybe even a bit of a back bend. Trikonasana can turn into a bit of a back bend if the flexibility is there. Right shoulder blade moves forward, left shoulder blade moves forward. Oh, yes, root through the feet a little bit more, create more grounding. And then when you can't stretch anymore, come all the way up. Take a moment, maybe a formal Tadasana or just a moment of connection and allowing all that energy to reorient. All right. So while I'm on this kick of side body, if you have a wall handy, you're welcome to use it. I'm going to shut this for 1 second. I just want to demonstrate one thing. Especially if you're really tight in your shoulders, this can be a helpful kind of exercise. You bring your whole back body to a wall, your heels, your butt, right? And just even actually kind of tucking your butt, trying to get as much of your shoulders and upper back onto the wall as you can. is core work. So you'll feel your core engage. But then you take your arms up overhead and you try to get the side body to lengthen while you keep your core engaged, right? Root through your feet and reach as your shoulders are up. That energy here is really helpful to building the strength and stability around that side body lengthening. It's also part of the warm up if you want to learn how to do handstands. Handstands are the same energy. You have to get as much side body lengthening as you can to balance on your hands. So I've used that in class to demonstrate like really the amount of strength it takes to get a good length. Everybody with me? Or did I go off on a side tangent?
Oh, it's extremely hard.
Yes.
Wouldn't have imagined just being in the
I
wall.
mean, yeah, and you have to try it if you ever try kicking up to the wall for handstands and try to get the same muscular energy in a handstand. It's kind of fun. Like I'm sweating. I don't know about you guys. Let's do a little side bend. So this is next on my list. Crescent pose. So start with Tadasana. All your Tadasana cues, big toe, pinky toe, back through the heel, arch lifts, toes may be slightly lifted if you want to help that rooting. Draw up through your thighs, right? Get that side body lengthening. If you practice at the wall, you'll really feel that energy going up. Maybe you reach up, go ahead and just mimic the wall with a reach up. There's so many different positions, but I'm gonna take interlace your hands, first fingers up. Kind of squeeze your ears with your arms. The thing about back bends, side bends, we do need our glutes. We need to not over squeeze your butt, but you're gonna tone your butt. You're gonna stabilize the pelvis using your glutes, but also zip up in your jeans right here. So it's work, just right here should be some work. Inhale, try to soften to grace as you're doing your work. Right, inhale again. And we're gonna come to the right side, just a little side body stretch. So as you're arcing to the right, you're going to root through the left foot a little bit stronger. Roll the right shoulder forward, like kind of pull the right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. We tend to want to hunch forward and roll down. I want you to almost roll open. Sternum moves upward towards the sky. Root a little bit deeper, reach through the arms and see if you can drop over a little bit more. Ooh, yes. Working those obliques a bit, root down a little bit more. Now, inner body bright, lengthen out. Tips of the shoulder blades move towards your heart, forward, so it turns into side bend, a little bit of back bend. Oh, shit. Inhale, come all the way up. Shit is a holy word. Okay. Other side. Again, feeling into the lengthening of the side body. If you're really fatiguing, step back and work where you feel the strongest first, right? So tuck your butt, thighs strong, length. This might be it for you today. Root down through the right foot a little stronger, arc over to the left. This little side bend is lovely, but if you want to take it deeper, root into that right foot a little bit more. Left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. Drop a little bit deeper. Tips of the shoulder blades move forward towards the heart. Your head moves back, your arms move back. Drop a little bit more. Wow. Nice and strong, but heavy in your legs. Get heavier in your legs. Let them just Be heavy, 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 heavy. Go further. Yes. Good job. Inhale, come all the way up. Take a moment, either formal Tadasana or just receptive.
I have a question.
Do it.
So I've had 2 arm surgeries, shoulder surgeries, and my shoulders are burning. So is it just because of my surgery, or is everyone's shoulders hurting? Like, I'm trying to see where I'm at.
Yeah. Where do you feel the burning in your deltoids?
Right in the back of my shoulders, right here. And I mean, it's always kind of hurts, but because we've done a lot of shoulder work today, even really in the Finks and this, the one where we were pushing up with our forearm. I mean, it was really killing me. So I don't know. I can't decide if I'm just weak there, or if it's, scar tissue from all my shoulder surgeries, or if it's just normal and y'all are having it too. I'm trying to kind of see where I'm at.
In my feedback is, well, I mean, I'm definitely feeling it, but yours is probably a little more intense from a surgery. That's also the area where like your lats, and I mean, you've got so many muscles that cross through here. The deltoids here, the lats are here. So we're working all those muscles, but if I were you, I'd back out of the intensity, like at least 50%, and then see if that, take the burn out of it and just work that, like a slider activation, see if that helps.
Okay, thank you.
You just don't want to be so sore or in pain. Even if it's helpful, it won't be helpful if you're in pain.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else got questions so far? You feeling your shoulders?
Oh yeah.
I mean, can you feel God in there though?
Yeah.
There's energy, right? You feel all that energy. That's what I love about it, even though it's not my favorite thing, strength work. How's that for you, Alita?
It's good. I definitely feel sore. I start to get really shaky, and but it kind of makes me feel strong too. But I keep pushing.
Well, I invite all of you to pull back a little bit if it's too shaky. The goal isn't to push ourselves in some sort of achievement.
It's just crazy how sore, just to hold your arms up. With activation, not just holding them up, but with activation.
Yeah. And now that I'm doing all this CrossFit and the energy is like exploding out, this is like complete opposite work in the muscle, than we're used to doing with like weights and stuff like that sometimes. All right, so next I want to, we're kind of getting through things. How are we doing on time? We're looking good. Okay, so I want to, let's do, now that we got all this side body, let's do warrior one. And then I think this will be the last of the standing poses, and then we'll get on the floor for the yummy back bend, the stuff that can be a little intense on the floor. So start in your warrior one. I always start with right leg back just because it helps me stay oriented to which side I'm on. So start with both legs straight in your warrior one. Both legs are straight. I want you to get into the roots of your feet, right? Where your pressure points of the 4 corners are down and active. When we're teaching beginners, we tend to tell them to really press into the floor really hard. And that can be helpful to activate the correct muscles. But once you've been practicing for a while, there's this place where you can actively be engaging and kind of rooting through these corners, but kind of relax into it a little bit. Like let your legs be heavy. I say this because from my practice, I can just tend to like leave my body a lot. So this practice of being engaged, but letting my lower half be heavy, kind of energetically lets my energy system drop in. And so I want you to play with that if that's something that makes sense, what I just said, right? So drop in first, open to grace. And then I want you to pull your inner thighs towards each other. So I want you to squeeze your inner thighs, and that should bring that right hip forward slightly and the left hip back. So I want you to activate that inner thigh. Like I'm so weak in my inner thighs. I already feel it kind of burn in my inner thighs just by pulling them together, like as if you were drawing your feet together on your mat. Then I want you to bring your hands to your ribs like we did earlier. And keeping that active but relaxed leg, I want you to lift your ribs up with your hands. And maybe even turn the right rib a little bit forward. My ribs tend to want to open to the right. So I'm going to encourage them with my hands just to square up with the front edge of my mat. Now the shoulder loop, shoulder blade, the tip of the shoulder blade, move it towards your heart. Maybe lift your chin slightly and pull your throat back. Warrior one is the back bend, right? So now we're in this back bend, lunge in the front knee. Woo! There goes everything lighting up, even in my legs, right? Here. So side body long, keep the right rib cage from rolling back. Maybe you pull your elbows back towards each other if you're holding onto your ribs still. Pull your throat back, see if you can get a little more back bend. Maintain that muscle action. And if you want to add the reach overhead, reach overhead. I feel my low back clenching a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of the lunge just slightly, drop my tailbone down towards the floor a little bit more, take the back bend out just enough in my low back. So when I lunge, I can bring the energy back up into my upper shoulders. Clear as mud? Yes. Release and step forward when that feels complete in your system. Set up the other side. Right, nice and wide, like, what is it, about 3 foot, they say? So about a leg's distance width. Left hip forward, right hip back, belly draws in, my sacrum is heavy. Activation in the legs, but not so much activation where you're not in your own body. I get heavy there, feel that grounded sense of self dropping in. You can do hands to the ribs if that helps you to feel that length up and out, just like we did on the wall. All of this work you've been doing, I want you to feel that energy activation from the core, but without clenching in the low back. Keep your legs heavy. Shoulder blades move towards your heart. Maybe your elbows pull back if you want to bring that back bend up into the thoracic spine. You can do the lunge, but if you sink into the low back, I want you to set up again. No pain in the low back. It's very activated. It's, a very different way to practice than if we're all in our emotions or the energy. We are using our body as the portal. So play with that lens still. Reach overhead if you want to add the full expression, but keep the length of the side body, the shoulder blades moving forward, the throat moving back. Warrior one. Good, and step out when that feels complete. How was that, warrior one? It can feel kind of technical. So this might be something you like, but it's okay. If it's too much, I totally get it. All right, so you need your 2 blocks and you need your strap. We're gonna do some shoulder opening. I hope you're nice and warm. Let's see. So what you want to do with your strap is you fold it in half, right? So you have your 2 ends kind of even. And you're going to measure your torso width across. I like to do from like where my shirt seam is on the waist. So I like to go back a little bit. That's going to give you more room in the shoulders. So you're going to measure across your torso, across your chest. I go up more like at your bust line, just so you have as much room as possible, especially Trish or anybody with shoulder issues going on. Then you can either, depending on your strap, I'm going to tie a knot right there. Or if you have a buckle on your strap, that's where the buckle, you're going to strap it to that spot. And we can adjust as you go. So it's like this, right? Let me know if you have any questions on that. What the purpose, so you kind of know where you're going, is you're going to bring the strap up and your arms behind your head. And so the strap is going to go on those upper arm bones. This is way too big. So I just realized I measured with way too much space. So I'm going to make mine a little shorter. So you can, once you kind of have the idea, then you can play with. If I bring my arms up and I widen out into the strap, too stretchy. Bring the strap down behind my head, overhead. And I want to get that energy of widening out into a V, but also bringing your head back into the strap. So if you push your head back into the strap, does that work for your shoulders? If not, loosen it up, make your V wider. If this is like no go, like Trish, if this is like, oh, pinch, no good. No, just we can do everything without the strap. This just helps for a deeper stretch. Okay. Unmute yourself, ask questions if you need to. Because I'm going to the floor. So once you got that position, you can take it off. And I want to come down. And what do I want to start with first? I know. Grab, before we even do shoulders, let's do some hips. All right, come to the floor, grab a block. And I want you to put your block between your feet. I'm gonna turn my camera down so you can see a little bit better. You can see you a little better. Okay. Block between your feet in Baddha Konasana, so knees apart. Pull your heels in as close to your hips as you want to for your flexibility, and put that block between your feet. This is actually a great practice opening. You can even sit against a wall to help keep the spine and that length out of the waist. So you can do that too, but I'm just going to hold on to my shins and kind of get my pelvic tilt happening. So pubic bone moving towards the floor. And then if you have enough flexibility to hold onto your shins and get the side body to lengthen, that's what we want. And then let the knees drop. This is a stopping point, you can stay right here. If you're getting enough stretch, cool. Bringing your hands behind you to act as the wall can be nice too. The one thing you want to remember if your hands are behind you, to not lift your butt so much off the floor that like you're clenching up. I want you to get heavy in the hips and keep the spine long. You guys with me? Press your feet into the block. I want you to actively press, 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 but as you press into the block, don't clench in the low back. Keep that all nice and long and heavy. Feel the length in the side body. Maybe you can get your legs to be a little bit heavier, your knees to drop. Soften your breath. If you like those back bend cues for the upper back where you pull your throat back, maybe even lift your chin slightly. The shoulder blades move towards the heart. Keep pressing into the feet, into the block. Good. And release. Take your legs wide, Baddha Konasana. In Iyengar, what they'll do is take your legs wide, just a nice comfortable width. Bring your hands behind you, lift up and push your hips forward to the range of flexibility. You see, like where I kind of go this way. What happens is the yoga mat kind of drags your thigh skin into that internal rotation. Oh boy, I'm tight. We're opening up the inner thighs. It can feel good. Usually we teach in Upavista Konasana, toes up, but you might try toes flexed. You can definitely forward bend and get that rotation, but since it's a back bending class and I've been drilling this all day, I want to try to maybe get some length. So you can use your hands behind you or a wall behind you and work on that side body lengthening, throat back, heart forward, chin back. Nice full breath, just feeling in. Let your thigh bones drop out of your low back. Let your system ground as you're opening. Good. All right, you can roll back. You can slide your butt back. One block or two blocks. 2 blocks is going to be a little bit more. Baddha Konasana again. You can do that same thing where you put your feet and then you lift and bring your hips forward towards the block. I like the arms behind me sort of thing. So I can just work on now with the 2 blocks, press in with your feet. See if you can let your knees get heavier. Just on their own, not by trying to relax by pushing, but just by dropping in. Nice, active. Give it a little bit more, about a minute more. Good. You can release. Go wide again one more time. Just take your legs to that Upavista Konasana. Lift your hips, get the length, and then slide it forward. My hope is it feels a little easier. Maybe you're a little further in. Maybe about 3 to 5 more breaths. Maybe reactivating the length, the shoulder loop. Soften your throat. Heavy in your legs. And you can release. All right. Let's do let's do Virasana. I'm gonna come up onto your knees. This is in your back bends. Virasana is hero pose. So if you're not familiar with this, typically in Virasana, you have two legs, your heels are apart, and you sit between your heels, right? I'm gonna do things a little differently just because I like this one. You're gonna take a block to the floor. I like it long ways for my butt. I'm gonna sit on that one. And then I'm gonna put my other block where if I were to lay down about this spot where my shoulders might be. You might not get to that block, but we're just gonna have it nearby in the general area in case you're really feeling great. So what you're gonna do is I'm gonna start on my left side. I'm going to sit on the block, first of all. Actually, just come to sit. This is the easiest way. I'm going to take, so my left butt cheek is going to be on the floor. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. My right foot, my right shin is going to come to the floor. So your right knee's bent and your left leg is just bent, foot on the floor. Does that make sense? Okay. So left knee's bent, right foot's on the floor. All right, this might be enough of a stretch for your foot and your shin. Virasana, this is Ardha Virasana, so half hero. The stair steps. You can do your hands on your shin and just rock back in your sacrum and kind of hang back. So this would be like a phase one. If you have any knee issues, this could be, you know, your stopping point here. The right heel's on the outside, I'm rounding, you're getting that nice stretch even through the deltoids and that sort of, not deltoids, I mean rhomboids between the shoulder blades. Actually, it feels really good after all that activation just to kind of hang on my shin. So that feels great. Take a few breaths right here. So the reason for like that intense, you know, side angle pose we did holding it also is to warm up the thighs because we need them to be nice and warm so we can do some big opening. So hopefully you feel nice and warm in your thighs and your quads to get a little bit bigger stretch. The next phase would just be bringing your hands behind you like this. So this could be a stopping point. The next position is coming down onto either your elbows or maybe the block. The block, the one for the shoulder, is going to come between the shoulder blades right at your deltoids, right at that start of the thoracic spine. So I'm going to come like maybe down on one forearm, align the block a little bit, walk your hands out wide, however you need to get there, but you're going to slowly lower back. I'm going to adjust my block. Everyone see where my block is under the shoulders. You can bring your hands to your head to support your neck. And then if it feels good, you're going to just lay back right over the block. If that's not happening, don't worry, just stay up on your hands. Support your head. And just get that side body lengthening up and over the block. Oh, after everything, that just feels amazing and painful all at the same time. The pain really should be like the block kind of digging into the muscle If there's a sharp pain or something a little bit deeper, then that's not going to work for you. You need to come out. Oh. Okay. Maybe about 3 more breaths. And when that feels complete, use your hands as best you can. Take your time. Come up. Unwind that right leg, maybe even straightening the knee. You can come off the block for a second just to let the leg reorient. Any questions before we go the other side or thoughts with that? It can be pretty deep. So I'm going to go to the other side. So just to talk you through it again, 1 block under your like right sit bone. And then the left shin's going to tuck under. You might just sit up, and so my left side is way different. My knee is not as happy on this side, all that stuff. So I might not make it to the block on this side, but we'll see. Hands to the shin, you can rock back and because that's just lengthening the thigh. Can you feel that shift and stretch? A nice counter stretch to all that activation in the shoulders. Phase, whatever, 2 or 3 would be back behind you. You might even lift your butt a little bit to retuck your tailbone, and that provides a little more length. Maybe your hands go a little wider to start to lower you down to the block at your shoulders, between the shoulder blades. Do it. Oh, I got there. Hands can be behind the head. And if you want to start to arch back over that block, you can. Oh my goodness gracious. Ugh. Come out when that feels ready. Release the leg. You might want to come off the block just so you can straighten out your knees, or even a down dog is a great way to stretch the knees if they're a little tight after that.
Jen,
Yeah.
in the heroes pose, the foot, is it supposed, I don't know if you can see my foot. So is it directly under, or is it
it's as close to the outside of the hip as you can make it.
So you want it on the outside, you don't want it under. You kind of want them to.
Yeah, I mean it's safe if it's under. It won't hurt your knee. It's actually a little bit safer than if it was super wide. But yeah, you're tucking it in. You're making room for that block in your butt. So it can be tucked under. Yeah. It's just without the block when you're doing it, you know, you're gonna make room for your hips to sit between them. But this is actually probably the safest on the knee, because that what do they call it? A W sit is actually pretty intense on the knee joint. So you want your heels as close to your hips as you can, but still making room for your butt to fit between there. Because full hero pose is what we just did. It lays all the way back. That's where the back bend is when you lay back, the back arches. And so that block work helps you get there without the intensity. Okay, so the next thing, I want you to have your strap nearby, and you're going to take your 2 blocks, and you can have your blocks and like, I'm sure you guys know this, there's the high position, the medium, and then the flat position. I'm gonna go medium. I'm gonna go, because we're gonna be using the strap. If you tend to be tight, just go flat to start. You're gonna position the blocks on your yoga mat so that your it's right below the, like, it's gonna be in your more of your middle back. So it's a little bit below the shoulder blades, right? But not so low, like right under your shoulder blades, not so low where it's in your lumbar spine. And this is just for comfort, but there's a little bit of space between the blocks. That's where your spine will go, right in the middle. So it just keeps the blocks from pushing into your spine. So if you need to see me first before you get there, you're welcome to watch for a second. Have your strap nearby. What I have to do, because once I'm in it, I can't deal with the strap. So I want to get my blocks positioned and like position your body, like measure it out so it's comfortable. Each block is kind of on, like it's the edge of the block's below my shoulder blade. So the fullness of the block is actually a little bit on the shoulder blade. So that's fine. Then you're going to take your strap and you're going to bring it like we did earlier, where you're going to bring it up on your arm bones and then behind your head, right? And what we're going to do is you're going to press your head gently back into the strap. So your neck should be supported by the block. And then you're going to arch yourself back over, oh gosh, back over the block. And so I'm glad I picked the flat end because this is pretty stretchy. So if you get there and it's too much, adjust your blocks or take the strap off. You can do the same work without the strap, just reaching back maybe for your yoga mat. Okay. Give it a try. I'll watch you. Yeah. If you're feeling like you could take it a little bit deeper as your strap is there, try to like widen out into the strap. Like breaking the strap is what they always say. It's like that width open as you arch back will take it a little bit deeper. It's so intense, it's okay to come in and out of it. It's okay to only be able to take a minute or two of it, or a breath or two of it. It's opening up a lot of energy. And a lot of that like fear we get really is this parts of our body. Opening up. So just feel into that somatically and physically. All right. Whenever you're done with it, you can take your time to come out. And just notice what you feel. And open to hearing your experience. Do you feel effervescent in your heart?
Yeah.
I do. Isn't it crazy?
Right.
Is this the best your shoulders ever felt, Preston?
Yeah.
Or is that going too far?
Within my thoracic area. It's, I mean, wow, it's weird. It's hard to explain, but yeah, there was just a lot of tension there. I didn't realize until now.
How's your neck?
Yeah, you know, it's actually a lot better than it was when we started this, because all week I've been having trouble. I couldn't turn. on Wednesday, and yeah, it got a little better, but this is the best it's felt all week. And I think that was the problem, a lot of tension in that area behind the shoulder blades, you know.
Good deal.
Yeah, it's definitely free.
Anybody else? All right, anybody on the opposite end of that spectrum? Not feeling good? Please tell me. Because I got a couple more of these and then we'll break, okay? Next position, keep the blocks handy. Let's keep the strap out of it for right now. Just keep it off the side. Let's come into a set 2 Bandha Sarvangasana. Who knows what that one is? Bridge pose, bridge pose. Set 2 Bandha Sarvangasana. All right, so let me give you a little bit of my spiel about these intent. So these are like the back bends everyone thinks of when they think of back bends, bridge and wheel. Urdhva Dhanurasana Dhanurasana is wheel pose. So let me, set 2 Bandha Sarvangasana is a part of these group of poses. There's this pose called Sarvangasana, which is shoulder stand, right? Shoulder stand, this is Sarvangasana. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because I want you to see my Sarvangasana is my chest and my chin touching, right? That's the connection. That's the word bandha, set 2 bandha, lock. Bandha means lock. It's a lock of the chin to the chest, right? So that's where this pose is coming from. You guys with me on that? So the focus of bridge pose is getting that lock, the throat lock, the heart energetically, the heart is pouring into the throat. So we speak our truth from the heart in bridge, right? We're open and connected, our heart and throat chakra. So I want to provide the foundation in my legs and my low back and my side body lengthening that makes that lock happen. A lot of students, and this is my soapbox, but whatever, right? A lot of students I see, they'll lift into bridge kind of halfway, and it's okay, like older people and stuff like that, like this is their bridge. They're really just working like leg strength. There's a bit of like a back bend. But what happens when we're in this halfway bridge is that the back bend is all in our lumbar spine. And you might even notice, like maybe today as you practice around here in a few minutes, like halfway, where do I feel it? Low back, all the way, it actually takes out the pain in the lumbar spine. So it's this muscle action that's really going to keep it from hurting later on. That's why we're going to teach it this way. So I hope that made sense. It's hard to know if I'm making any sense, so please ask questions. But the setup, the foundation for set 2 Bandha Sarvangasana is bringing your heels up towards your hips, as far up to your hips as you can. And that provides like the strength in the legs to be able to lift your pelvis up and down, nice, as high as you can. So bring the heels in as close to your butt as you can, lift into your bridge, and then we're gonna work on that rolling open of the shoulders that we did on all the other back bends. So you're gonna roll to one side and tuck your arm bone, roll to the other side and tuck your other arm bone. And so a lot of teachers will teach bridge here where you interlace your fingers under your butt to help get that shoulder roll open for the full back bend into your heart, right? So heels up to your butt, roll the arm bones, lift your hips. Here's that halfway lift that really is just low back. What I want to the action I want to take is root into your feet, get heavy in your legs, brighten up your inner body. So brighten it up, lengthen your side body, keep lengthening. So I'm feeling energy moving out through my knees Like I'm lengthening from my thighs over my knees and my heart moving towards my chin. So the side body lengthening is going to bring the action of the back bend up into my chest, moving towards the chin. So the stronger I get, the higher up in my back I want to feel it. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, and I got the neighbor ringing my doorbell to play with Max. So sorry if you hear my doorbell.
Oh, didn't even hear it.
I got a little kid. All right, so try everybody lay down. I'll talk you through it. Walk your heels close into your butt as far as you can. Lift your hips just slightly and roll one arm bone under and roll the other arm under. And if you can interlace your hands to help deepen that action. Now activate your arms even by gently pulling them towards each other on your back. And now I want you to start not the lifting of the heart, but the lengthening. Feel the lengthen of the side body out through the outer hips, out through the top of the knees, up into the heart. That should provide that natural back bend all the way up into the thoracic spine, chin to the chest. Good, Shelly. Now playing around, I see some of you inner thighs roll down towards the floor. So I want you to spiral your thighs slightly inward and see what you notice in your spine. So let your legs get heavier, especially the inner thighs. Yeah. It's a little weird, but it actually will loosen up your sacrum to maybe make a little bit more room for a big lift. Good, Trish. That's pretty high. Good, Alita. See if you can soften in the front body. You know, we have all this activation in the back. Once you kind of get that full activation, then see if you can soften the front body into more of a receptive mode. Right, and when it feels complete, just resting with your back flat is really a great counter stretch to back bends, or a gentle twist. Twisting is a good release after a back bend as well. So if you tightened up at all, help that energy move. Okay, since we're nice and warm, I'm gonna do the deeper bridge pose. You can take this one or not. It's totally up to you. I just want you to see it. There's many ways to grab. Sometimes teachers will teach, hug your knees in and you grab your shins down by your foot. So the front of your shins. And then you place your foot down on the mat, right? That's one way to get there. For me, I don't like the way it pulls me in too tight right away. So what I do is I'll place my feet down, lift up, and then I reach from the tops of my ankles this way. I kind of crunch down towards my ankles. Either way, you're trying to grab these outer ankles. So it's compacting your back bend for sure. Same setup, I'm grabbing my shins, and then you're gonna roll your arm bones under each other, under your shoulders. Activate the legs, holding onto the shins, press into the floor, and it's the same thing, bringing that chin lock, chest to the chin, press in, lift higher, higher, higher. That's gonna provide a bigger opening to the front body. Drop your inner thighs. So my knees kind of draw in and my inner thighs move towards the floor. It's an inner spiral of the legs. You can try that one if you want, or take another bridge, or just rest with a flat back, depending how fatigued your spine is getting. So I had a really like old school yoga teacher that went through all this with me on these techniques. And he would say, if you can't do the ankle grab into the bridge pose, you're not ready for the full wheel where you push up with your arms. I don't know if that's true, or, you know, I struggle, you can struggle with one, but that was kind of his rule of thumb, like really working on the bind and bridge, and getting that, because in full wheel, and you can take a wheel if you want to, but just to give you the demonstration for your cueing and working in your practice, when you're setting up the full wheel pose, your hands come by the shoulders, right? You lift your hips into the bridge. You're gonna press up. The action is the chest moving through your arms. So you straighten your legs. It's moving the heart towards like like bridge, moving the heart towards the chin. And that back bend, we want to move the heart through the arms. And that's a humongous back bend. Along with all that shoulder work we did earlier. Yeah, that'll set that up. Yeah, take a few breaths. If you sit up even, or whatever feels good, just to help that energy kind of recalibrate. Good, Trish. All right. Let's counter stretch all this good stuff. So if you want your strap, have it nearby. Lay on your back. And I'm going to use my strap. Why not? Put your right foot into your strap, or hold on to the right foot. Bring it straight up towards the ceiling. Supta Padangusthasana. So start with your left foot on the floor. Right toes up, and then you can straighten out the left leg. So it's a hamstring stretch, but I want to do it with alignment and awareness. So I want you to try to bring your low ribs down to the floor. Pull your ribs back so your core is engaged. As you pull your right foot towards your head and your left leg's extended, I want you to reach out through the bottom of the left foot like you're standing on the wall. And then just take a couple breaths in there. Feel your right thigh kind of rooting into the hip joint. Let your energy drop into your body, drop into the earth. You can switch which foot is in the strap or up in your hands. Start with the right foot on the floor, left foot up. Make your ribs heavy. And then you can straighten out the right leg flat on the floor. And just like you were standing on the wall, that right foot is slightly flexed. And you lengthen out through the bottom of the foot. We'll take about 10 good breaths here. You can release that when you're ready. Right ankle on top of the left knee. Let's just do a figure 4. So pulling in the left knee, you can grab hold. If it feels good to rock a little bit. Counter stretching the back bends. Let's take a twist. You can keep the figure 4. I like to kind of hold on to the right foot with my left hand and guide both knees over to your left. So the foot that's on top kind of is on the floor a little bit. And then you roll the opposite shoulder back, the right shoulder, the right ribs, the right lungs. Okay. As that side feels good, you can uncross the legs, roll back to neutral and switch sides. Start with the hip stretch. Like we learned last time, if your low back is tight after all those back bends, opening the hips can help release the low back. So these figure 4 stretches are great for cooling down after back bends. That feels good. You go into your twist. So the left foot comes to the floor. You can hold it in place with your right arm and then reach back, stretch back. And take some slow, deep breaths up that left side. Good. And then from here, you can gently bring your knees back up. Bring your feet to the floor. Maybe just stretching out. We'll just take a moment here in Shavasana, just letting everything reorganize. Just checking in with how you feel and all that energy we awoken. Okay. And deepen your breath. Anything that feels good here. If you feel good just laying here for a bit more time, that's okay too. But thought that would be a good introduction to what's written in your book about the muscles. That you've had the experience of it now, so that maybe it makes sense in your system as you read it and work through it. The goal, I was a little worried. I don't want you to think that you need to come out of training teaching all that nuance, because there's a lot going on as a new teacher. But it's just to give you that experience. But anything that lands, you know, you can definitely bring that into your sequencing. But if it was all too much to think about right now, like, you can let that just be the experience as well. But I've noticed that kind of nuance really helps people that have different limitations and they're wanting to get more of the therapeutic work out of yoga.
Yeah, I enjoyed the nuance a little bit. Thank you for that experience of
Good.
that.
Good. All right, take home message.
I think what
Ground.
my heart
Go ahead.
I think one of the aha moments for me was it's more of heart openings and lots of leading with the heart and less about the back and the extension of the back, but more of the heart opening.
Yeah. Have them grow long before they move back. And that's going to be a really important, especially like there's some back bends in yoga, like the standing drop backs and stuff, where you really have to be careful. And you know, when they do this thing, you know, where you drop back that way, you have to really get a lot of length.
Some days that doesn't feel very good, you know. Some days it does, but
Okay, let's see. So it is 20 to 1 your time. You guys want to take a 20-minute break? Does that sound, is that enough? Because we're just going to be talking. So if you're hungry, like, eat. We're just going to be sitting. Yeah, get food. And then that way we'll just finish up. And because I feel like time goes so fast. I don't know how you guys feel, but so yeah, just for the sake of the recording, we're going to log off and then log back on with that second link. I'll put it on the group chat if you have trouble, but
same one that was on Thinkific, right?
Yeah, there was 2 listed. That way whoever's watching can do this, stop, you know, it just adds a break between the videos. Okay, so I'll see you back in about 20 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.